Hi. Okay.
Hello.
Perfect. We're back connected. Great. So,
Yeah,
I'm just. Can you hear me well and see me?
I can hear you very well. Yes. Can you hear me?
Perfect. Yes, yes. You sound well, and the visuals are great. So, thank you everyone for relogging back on and helping us through our technical difficulties. And thank you, Pierre, for joining. Um, So I would love to introduce myself. My name is Sarah. I'm the curriculum coordinator for A Taste of African Heritage from Oldways. And today during our, this month for Black History Month, we're doing a recipe, African Heritage recipe celebration. And today we'll be doing an interview with Pierre Thiam. First, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today for this interview with Fonio ancient grain expert and culinary chef Pierre Thiam. You've probably known him for his many ventures, such as his Fonio Grains company, Yolele, or visited his co-partnered restaurant based in New York, Paraga, and definitely read a few of his books from Yolele Recipes from Senegal or Senegal from the Source to the Bowl. Please join me in welcoming Chef Pierre Tom.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes,
I'm a big fan of the work that always been doing, and particularly in the Mediterranean cuisine. And so I'm looking forward to contributing to the African one.
absolutely. It's so funny because I must say it was like when I first started this job, I was like, I have to post Pierre Tom's TED Talk, and so I had it on our Facebook page, and that was one of the first posts I made when joining the company. And so it's just so nice to actually meet you in person and do this interview. So thank you for having availability and being able to do this with us.
It's my pleasure.
So, I heard a little bird told me that we were doing a mini cooking demo on like a snack or whatnot. Is that still in the repertoire? If not, that's perfectly fine. I've plenty of questions to ask you.
Well, I mean, I had the setup for that, but I'm not sure if the platform is appropriate. I mean, like you can see here, let me show you. I had my whole mise en place here. I was going to do
Oh.
a fonio salad and I was going to talk about fonio. But then again, I had different cameras. You know, I had a camera here and a camera over the stove to show you from different angles. But that really works on a Zoom setup. Sorry, let me return to this.
Hmm.
That really works on a Zoom setup. Is we can try to do it, but we'll be improvising, and you guys gonna have to be very patient because I'm not guaranteeing that it's work because I'm gonna have to do it from this one handheld camera, which is the one I'm talking to right now. So I'll be the camera guy, the guest, and and
You'll be
and
doing
and and
five
and,
jobs.
and the chef too. But we can try. I just don't know how it works. How much time do we have?
Oh, we have as much time as you are available for. I know we had it, I think, originally from 1:30 to 2, but to be honest, it is definitely based upon your preference. So,
All right, so
if you think we could fit it.
let's try it. You want to guide me through your questions, and then I can talk to you about this and maybe do the snack, and hopefully, our
Yeah.
audience will get something from it.
Oh my gosh, yes, definitely. And I love that we're using the same props with the color for Fonio from Yolele. It's just
Oh
so
yeah,
beautiful, and so I had to show it for the interview.
thank you, thank you.
Um,
We should thank Pentagram for designing the brand. Pentagram has been working with us on this, and it came out with something that completely like set us apart. So it's really I need to be grateful for them.
Absolutely. And the colors really stand out. I think even when I'm shopping at Whole Foods or just at the market and I see Fonio, like the company brand, the logo and everything is just so beautiful and it really stands out. So just want to say whoever is over that, you're doing a great job.
Well, again, Pentagram are the professionals behind it.
Instagram.
We had a mission and a vision. We really wanted it to represent this mission of this African food company, and we wanted it to be, unapologetically African, but also in a way to the package should really present the product. And as you can see in the package here, let me just grab one randomly. This is our first package, the Fonio. There we go. So you see this map of Africa, with like this red section here. The red
Hmm.
section is a zone called the Sahel, and that's really where we source our fonio. So you see all these different countries in the red section: Nigeria, Senegal, Mali, Guinea. All those countries are the zone where we source our fonio. So that's for the consumer to have some type of education, really. And then you see all the countries of Africa, but you don't see any borders. So it's by design as well, because those borders are a heritage of colonization, and we really want our food to transcend the borders. We know that those borders are not real. We're calling for unity here. So that's really why you have the countries all written here, but no borders. And of course, you have all this information in the back on how to cook fonio. You realize that fonio is very nutritious, but in addition to that, it's like it cooks in 5 minutes. So this is what we're going to do today. We're going to cook fonio in 5 minutes, and you can also do anything with it. It's very versatile. I'm doing a salad today. That's the snack because I'm in California right now. I don't know. People are in all over the world. I've seen people logging in from Senegal, from New York, from Cameroon, from Europe. So, if it's really nice out there, you can enjoy this salad. Otherwise, fonio is very versatile. You can have it as a side dish. You can have it as a porridge. You can have it in a soup. I have my last cookbook, which you haven't mentioned. It's called the Fonio Cookbook, and you have all sorts of recipes around fonio in it. So that's also something, a good source of fonio, because it takes you through the journey of fonio, and you can also learn about the agriculture, about how it's being harvested, about the cultural aspect of fonio as well, which is very important because fonio, wherever it's grown, there's like a deep cultural connection with the people that are growing it. There's even a level of superstition sometimes. So you learn about that reading the book. So I won't take over you. I'll let you ask the question and guide me through this and let me know how you want to do it.
Yeah, I would love to hear. I think all of us would love to hear. So you said you're preparing a salad today, cooked with fonio,
Uh-huh.
and I was curious, why, because when I was historically looking at it, a lot of people use fonio on the savory side, but I've noticed even within your cookbook and your recipes, you've definitely made it very versatile to the Western community, which is really awesome. But would love to know, like, what brought you today to bring the salad? Like, and
I,
is this the mango one that's featured in, it's your
I,
50 cookbook?
No,
Mm-hmm.
it's not. It's not the cover of the
Okay.
Senegal cookbook. Actually, no.
Mhm.
I just returned from Hawaii, so it's like a really
Oh.
beautiful weather. Yeah, I just returned 5 weeks there, and I'm in the Bay Area in California at the moment where I speak to you, where my kitchen is, and this is a beautiful weather here. So the salad is really connected to the weather. No, it's not the mango salad. It's a roasted beets salad with
Ooh.
pickled carrots
Hmm.
and spicy pickled carrots to be precise, and fonio and lots of dill. So it's a fresh and herbaceous and colorful salad. So it's and again, it's the ingredients can vary. Fonio is again is easy to adjust to different recipes because it has a neutral flavor. When you eat fonio, the flavor is delicate and neutral, so it makes it easier to adjust to different recipes. Slightly nutty, but neutral. So
Yeah, I
reasonable.
definitely, absolutely, yes, and that's so interesting because I think even talking on that, the first time I tasted fonio, the closest thing that I connected it to, and you've probably heard this a lot, was couscous because they kind of have that nutty undertone, but the couscous grain is a little bit larger. I was wondering, what are some like similarities and differences you've noticed between fonio and couscous?
Beside the size, and the fact that fonio can cooks really fast, like couscous, is different in a sense that fonio is a grain and couscous is actually a pasta. People don't realize oftentimes that couscous is made out of flour of wheat. So another difference as well, because couscous is not gluten free and fonio is gluten free. So other than that, it's cooking fast. It's very convenient, like couscous, and it's the same size. It's a tiny little grain. The Fonio is really looking that size. I'm going to show you. I'm going to take it closer to the camera here, so you can see the audience. This is the size of Fonio. It looks like sand, with my hand. You can
Hmm.
see how tiny it is. So it's the size of couscous, and so that's the challenge with it, though, because it's so tiny. there's a skin, Fonio comes with a skin.
Hmm.
Each of these tiny grains has a skin that needs to be removed before it becomes food. So that's the challenge with Fonio. The processing takes forever, and that's why, traditionally it was, it's costly because it takes forever making it with a mortar and pestle. That's how you traditionally cook with Fonio. It's like a much bigger than this one, but it's a
Hmm.
mortar and pestle that you see women in the cooperatives that work with Fonio. They use a mortar and pestle to pound it lightly to remove that skin, and then it's being washed. They wash it for like, several times, pound it again, wash it, dry it in the sun on a platform, and then steam it. So that's why Fonio is costly to make. But now we are working on the full mechanization of the Fonio processing. So that's the next step for us to remove that bottleneck of the processing.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I was thinking of like I have several different questions based upon the information. One thing that I didn't learn while I was doing more research is that fonio it has a lot of protein. Like I think for like it's 12 grams of protein per 1 cup of fonio. And
Hmm.
I was wondering, I noticed recently on your Instagram page that Michael Bennett, the veteran NFL player, I mean, he just retired in 2020, but he was holding up your new chips, and I thought that was really cool. I was curious, have you guys like marketed Fonio more to the sports industry? Because, people are always focused on, maintaining muscle mass and looking for different sources of protein. So how has that journey been?
Oh yeah, it's really great because absolutely it's great for athletes, and having Michael Bennett, who's a Super Bowl champion, joining us on our team, and supporting us. Not only that, but he's also invested in the company. So it's really great because he's reaching out to his network of athletes. Athletes have been looking, especially African American athletes, who've been looking for heritage food, but heritage food that's also nutritious and rich in protein, and you can't beat Fonio at that level. So yeah, it's great. It really is a grain that checks all the boxes, like I like to say. It's great for the athletes. It's great for the common consumer. It's great for all of us who are in need of diversifying our diet, because our global diet is so limited. And this is really one of the reasons why we're facing many of the challenges of climate change, because of the limitation of our global diet, because of big agri focusing on having this monocultural system that's imposing us to eat rice, wheat, corn, and soy, and this is really this is hurting the soil, this is hurting the planet, this is hurting our health. So for all those reasons, we're focusing on introducing Fonio to a greater audience. And athletes are like also trendsetters in a sense. Not only is good for them, but they're also promoting becoming great ambassadors for us. And that's why Michael Bennett joining us is an amazing situation for this product.
Absolutely. Congrats. And another thing that I was thinking about when we were talking about the regions, and you were telling me, where a lot of the fonio is grown, like in Senegal, Gambia, and I love how it says the different countries here. I was
Hmm.
curious that do you think it can be grown in other African countries that maybe aren't on the Western and Central region that could possibly help improve their economy? Because I'm definitely getting a sense, and from Whole Foods market report of 2020 food trends, they had mentioned that foods from West Africa and included fonio, teff, millet, grains like that are becoming increasingly popular worldwide. And so I was just curious if you know of other regions where it could possibly benefit their economy in Africa.
Oh yes. Fonio actually used to be more widespread. I don't know if you heard in my TED talk, I even mentioned how archaeologists have found Fonio in pyramids in Egypt, because ancient Egypt would bury absolutely, they would take Fonio to the afterlife. They would bury their dead with Fonio. So this is how important it is, and that and the stories like that you can see throughout the Fonio culture. But it disappeared gradually for different reasons. One, because it's difficult to process. Another one is colonization that has disrupted our agricultural system. So this is something to keep in mind. Fonio grows easily. There's a nickname for Fonio, the lazy farmer's crop. That's
Yeah.
how because it's so easy to grow. All you need to do is to wait for the first rain to come, and then you throw the fonio seeds. That's how the farmers do it. They throw the fonio seeds after the first rain, and then they just
Oh.
go and they sit and they wait 2 months for the harvest. You don't even need to have any herbicide. You don't need to put any fertilization. None of it. It's easy to grow, very easy. So it can grow in different parts of Africa. It can grow actually, to be honest, in different parts of the world. This is not the mission of Yolele. Yolele's mission is to focus on supporting smallholder farmers in the region where fonio is being grown right now. We don't want fonio to become the quinoa that grows in Ukraine or in Texas or in Montana. This is not the goal, and that's one of the things that we are doing, is to even protect the appellation of fonio for those regions. So this is a political battle there, but you have to fight that fight at many different levels if you really want the farmers of West Africa to benefit, because they should be the ultimate beneficiary. That's their heritage food. But one thing to notice though, there's been traces of fonio because of the Middle Passage, that we have found fonio cultivation in the Galagichi region of the Carolinas, and you have found fonio region in the Dominican Republic because it's connected to Haiti. So this is all because of the African captives that came here and brought our cuisine, and brought our ingredients like fonio, like rice, like okra, like eggplants, like watermelon, you name it. There's so many ingredients. Our contribution in the world cuisine is immense, and the Middle Passage, we should be always recognizing that these Africans are the ones who have brought this cuisine, and at this international level. And you go from Southern cuisine to Brazil to Jamaica to Ecuador, you name it, to Mexico, you will always see traces of African cuisine, and in a way that's very prominent in that culture, food culture.
Yes, and I think going off of that, I would love to know more about, what is Yolele doing in particular that is helping improve the lifestyles of rural farmers located throughout West Africa that are growing the fonio crop?
Well, we're doing different things. The first thing we do is we guarantee to buy their production at a fair price. No, so not only that, we are also supporting the production. We're supporting the agricultural method by working. We've been working for 3 years now with research institutes in Mali, in Senegal, in collaboration with Cornell University here in the United States, and all of it to improve agricultural methods, to improve the seeds, so that the production, the productivity of the agriculture is even greater than what we have right now. We are also working on building a mill that will process fonio in a way that's more efficient, so that, like I mentioned, the processing is where there's a bottleneck, because it's part of it is still manual, and that really it reduces the productivity, and there's a lot of waste in the actual method of processing fonio. So that will be all removed. And all of that will go to the benefit of improving not only the production, but reduce the cost for the farmers, which not only we guarantee buying their grains at a fair price, but it will also reduce the cost, so they will have accessible fonio at a better price for them too, as well, for the region, pretty much.
Yeah, and I love the emphasis on the, manual labor, hands-on labor that, goes in connection with Fonio and really being able to cultivate it. Because I think now, it's 2021 and a lot of people are talking about how we can use machines or whatnot to make life easier, utilize things in other ways. And it's really great that such an awesome grain, but it still connects you so much to the cultural side, like how you still have to work with it hands-on to really have it prepared and ready to use for cooking. And so that's really connecting in a way. And I think that's so nice to learn about. I was curious, so on to the next topic. I know we touched on it a little bit, but and I've seen a few questions on it already, but the Fonio chips, I saw the post, I think it was February the 4th on Yolele's Instagram
Uh-huh.
page, but I would love to know what's your favorite flavor?
My favorite flavor. Oh wow, that's I would say the yassa. And the yassa is inspired by a traditional recipe from Senegal, actually, southern Senegal, Casamance, where my family is from. And it has accents of um, lime, and there's some heat to it as well. There's like some chili spices that will come though. So, if you don't stand the heat, the yassa is maybe not for you, but this lime and heat and the sweetness of caramelized onion just adds so much a great balance of flavor, and it hits you at so many different layers. And so yassa is my favorite, but they're all great. The Afro
Mhm.
Funk, which is a fermented locust bean, it's seasoned by this fermented locust bean that you see throughout West Africa. It's vegan as well, and it comes from a seed of a tree. The tree is called nere, and in Nigeria they call it dawa dawa. In Senegal we call it netetu.
Ooh.
So we dehydrate the netetu, and but it's fermented and it adds up to the, it brings so much umami, deeper fermentation level to those chips as well. So that's a good one, Afrofunk. And we have the greens, has moringa in it, so very nutritious. There we go, Afrofunk. There we go, the greens. Yeah, you got them. So those are
If you
great.
notice the
And
yasa's gone because I ate it.
the
It's
yassa is
gone.
great. Oh yes, that's my favorite. The yassa. There we go. Here, that's the one. So yes, and we have the jollof. We don't have the jollof in chips. We have the jollof in pilaf. Yeah. So those are the
Mhm.
products that we've added. We have a jollof pilafs. We have yassa pilafs, greens pilaf as well. For the chips, we have plain salt, sea salt as well. So that's for the average people who just want it plain. So we have to make sure everyone gets what they like.
Yeah, everyone gets their taste. Awesome. I would
Exactly.
love to know. That is so exciting, and I absolutely cannot wait. I know I saw it definitely posted on Yolele's website, so people who are interested, they could definitely purchase it directly from the website. That's
Hmm.
why I purchased these, and they came very quickly, and I loved the service, to be honest. The
Thank you.
sign for package, I was like, for Ponyo? Okay. Like that.
Great.
Um, I would love to now touching more on cultural heritage and whatnot. I would love to know what is your favorite or what was your favorite Senegalese recipe or dish that you used to prepare at home or that you still are preparing? Like, what's one of your favorites?
Oh, my favorite, there's so many great ones, but I think I want to say the chebujan. The chebujan is like the national dish. It's actually that's what's inspired the jollof, and that's what's inspired the jambalaya in southern cuisine, And so chebujan is the best way to describe it. It's presented. It looks like a paella, but with so much more flavor than a paella. It's oh yeah, you can't even compare. The rice is cooked in a broth that has a tomato, um, different root vegetables like cassava, carrots, eggplants, cabbage, and of course fish because jen means fish. Chebujan translates rice and fish, right? Jen is a fish
Mm.
pot, and the fish is stuffed with a mixture called rough. It has parsley, garlic, scotch bonnet, different ingredients
Mhm.
that really brings it some type of herbaceousness and heat to it. So you stuff the with lots of peppers as well, and you stuff the fish with it before cooking it in that same tomato broth that has cooked the vegetables. But the important ingredients in that tomato broth is the fermented aspect. We add some fermented conch,
Mm.
and that brings that umami depth. So all of it has cooked in it. You scoop them out and then you add your rice or your fonio, because you can do
Mm.
chewujen with fonio as well. And you add it to it and you let it cook. And so that rice comes out with a bright red uh, color and really fragrant. Imagine that's a stock that had been cooking all those different, the fish and the fermentedness and the cabbage and the vegetables, all of it comes together, and then you take all of those ingredients that are cooked and you place them on top of the rice with the fish prominently placed and the rice all around the bowl because we eat around the bowl traditionally in Africa. So this is a way to present Caribbean. That's a royal dish. That's like a dish that, you'd see in every household in Senegal, but it's a great, way to, it's my favorite. It definitely is my favorite. But I could say Supu Kanja as well. That's another one. That's okra. That's the ancestor of the gumbo.
Mm.
If you have to love okra, I'm a sucker for okra. I love okra on anything. So this one is a seafood laden, lots of okra, and it cooks and served over rice actually with palm oil, but good palm oil, the one that's been harvested, sourced like naturally, not the one that's coming from plantation that have destroyed forests and disturbed the whole ecosystem affecting climate change. So not that type of palm oil. So this is important when we cook. Every single one of us, we are responsible, and we should be mindful of how we source our ingredients and how we feed ourselves. And because we have an impact every single day when we make the choice to how we're going to eat our food, what kind of food we're going to eat. So that's the case of, when you purchase your ingredients too, and particularly for us as chefs, because we're cooking for large numbers of people, and we are also in a sense role models when it comes to cooking to food. So we must be mindful of that, and we must be mindful of the impact we're having on the environment. That's why I choose the right palm oil, the palm oil that's sourced by farmers from areas like in Casamance in Senegal or in Guinea, where it's just natural palm oil from palm trees in the forest without destroying the environment.
Absolutely. I love that you talked about, sourcing your, local ingredients, but also finding them from the right places and maybe not like the large corporal level that isn't supporting the local level. So that's
Hmm.
a really nice connection. And that's something that I think all of us, just quarantining or staying at home have probably been considering a lot more of. Like, I think even when it comes to my purchases now, I may see it on Amazon and it's so quick and easy, but it's like, I could go to the website. I have time on me. I don't need it that quickly. And, this is going to benefit them directly. So,
Thank you.
let's figure out more ways to help.
Absolutely. And the website is yolele.com.
Yeah, it's super cute. Got the visuals. So everyone should definitely go. I guess another question, touching on heritage, because you were talking so much about those two beautiful dishes that honestly have made me a little hungry now. But I would just love to, I know you're very proud of your Senegalese heritage and just, I think definitely learn more about your relationship to the African diaspora because I think you're based, your family is Senegalese, but then you are also in Brooklyn. So just that connection of, to the African diaspora.
Yeah, I'm not in Brooklyn right now, although I have a restaurant in Brooklyn. I have a restaurant on
Mm-hmm.
Medical
Paragraph.
Market in Brooklyn, and I have a restaurant in Harlem. So Brooklyn and Harlem are my places, but I am based in the Bay Area right now. So I get to Brooklyn, and Brooklyn is where I studied everything. My very first restaurant was in Brooklyn.
Mm.
And my second one, my two first restaurants were in Brooklyn, Yolele, the first one, and Le Grand Dakar, the second one. So absolutely connected with the diaspora, the African diaspora, and this is something that's been uh, always part of my life. Really, it's really kind of guided my mission to introduce the food from my culture. When I first started cooking, I was cooking at French restaurant, bistro, and Italian restaurant, and American restaurants. Until later on, realizing that there was a lack of representation of our own food culture. That's really what led me to go towards African cuisine. But the real connection there was for me when I was getting really starving for those flavors. I would go to African diaspora because there was no African food really. So I would go often to the African diaspora. I would go to eat gumbo somewhere. I would go to eat
Mhm.
Jamaican food. I would look for Brazilian food. So those flavors really confirmed to me that there was a need to bring our cuisine here because this was the same food, that could, if that food was here, there was room for Senegalese, for Nigerian, for Ivorian, Ghanaian, all those flavors, which are like amazing, which are the flavors from home. There was room for that. So, this is why actually when I wrote my very first cookbook, there was a chapter that I dedicated to the Middle Passage because that chapter was so important to me. Actually, that was the reason of the book. The Middle Passage made the connection between the diaspora, the Middle Passage chapter, where we talk about foods like gumbo that you find in New Orleans, but those food is the same recipes that you see in Nigeria. They call it okra soup. You see it in Senegal. They call it supu kanja. The dishes like acarajé in Brazil, in the Bahian, and they call it akara in Benin, in Senegal. The same black eyed pea fritters. Amala in Brazil, they call it abala in Gambia. And I can go on and on, even tamales in Mexico. People don't realize that where tamales is from, in the part of Mexico called Veracruz, in that area, they still make the tamales the same way it's being done in Nigeria with the banana leaves, wrapped up in the banana leaves. But they don't make that connection, But food can tell you history. Reading it through a plate or a bowl of food or a single dish, you can read the history of those ingredients and of the people who have produced it. And that history, when it comes to our food, is the history of the African diaspora. And this is really what my connection is. Food is the medium, but it connects me to the whole world of the African diaspora and of our ancestors and of our heritage food. And that's really the beautiful part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really beautiful explanation of, connecting something that you love, your passion, your career, and everything that you do is tied into your heritage. And I think sharing that information and providing that research or whatnot is going to last for generations. It's definitely going to pass on. And so it's really awesome work that you're doing in this field and providing for me, audience, everyone to learn more about the culinary history of, Senegal, but also connecting African heritage. On that note, I know you had mentioned Terega a little bit when you were talking about Brooklyn, and I remember seeing a post. It was on MLK Day, and I learned that the restaurant had teamed up with Breaking Bread to deliver meals across New York City. I heard that you guys were able to deliver around 300 meals, which is amazing. And I think that's so great that not only Yoglele, but Terega, like everything that you're involved in is connected to giving back to the community and, just showing support. So I would love to learn more about your similar projects that you have going on with your organizations or even personally that you're doing on ways to give back. I snooped a little bit on your Instagram page and I saw a little bit about chronic malnutrition, one that you're connecting with, Make the Connection. That's what it's called. And so I would just love to hear more about that, like your endeavors on that.
Yeah, I think for me, it's really it comes organically, and like any good food, really. But it really came organically. These connections, I always wanted it to be about giving back. I don't know if you remember in my TED talk, I talked about how this was really what drove me. I wanted to figure out a way to give back to communities that have been there for me and to give back, quite frankly, to my ancestry because all I get, my inspiration is coming from there, really. All I need to do is to look back into that deep well of heritage food and that they left for us, and that's what and I dig that inspiration and I present it to you in a plate, but that's that's the easy part. The most difficult part was what they did, bringing these ingredients and these dishes and these recipes over hundreds of years, and through, like I said, through the Middle Passage across the Atlantic, or through the colonization, all these hardships, and bringing them to me today. And I'm like, all I have to do is to take them and transfer them to the next generation, through my books, through my programs. And that's what I do. So I wanted to figure out a way to give back because I have so many reasons to be grateful, to give back also to the audience that's been accepting supporting me and supporting my restaurants and supporting my books and supporting my products. So this was a way to do it, and on MLK Day, figuring out a way to serve food through my restaurant Teranga to this community of elders who could benefit from it is just a great way to do it, and this past year, which was a terrible year, with the pandemic, has also opened so many opportunities to give back and to get support, to give to support communities that are in need. With Teranga, we started with supporting first responders first, because Teranga Harlem is located not far from hospitals, and we were able to bring food to first responders. And that's always, when you give, you always receive. So as we were doing that, with that intention, we got support from the community, who were also deciding to buy food from Teranga to support those first responders. And this worked well, because that's allowed us to keep a staff in the kitchen at Teranga. That's allowed us to survive this terrible pandemic that was terrible for our industry, the food industry. So that was great. And in addition, that inspired us to look beyond the first responders. We in Harlem, and in Harlem there are shelters, and in those shelters there are kids who would get their food from schools, but now that the schools are closed, we need to figure out a way to bring food to them. So we collaborated with an amazing organization called Harlem Grown. And Harlem Grown is like this beautiful organization that's like also working with inner city agriculture and supporting kids and really inspiring them and connecting them to the ground, which is amazing. So through them, we were able to bring food to those kids in the shelters and women battered shelters, actually. So not only the kids, but their mothers as well. So many projects like this we've been doing. I've been supporting, through Teranga, my restaurants, and through Yolele, and we want to keep doing it. We really think this pandemic also gives us an opportunity to remind people that food is about the community. Food is about us being together, sharing food around the table, breaking bread, like the name of this program at MLK was, So this is really what it is. So, I am very grateful to be in a place where I can do that, because I would want to have people doing it for me if I was in that position that I would need it. So this is really what we're about, We have a saying in Senegal, we say nit nite garabam. That means man is man's remedy. There's always an answers, through that. Or in South African say Ubuntu. It's also a way to say we just in it together, in a way. I am because you are, and so we have to keep that into perspective and always think of giving and receiving. That's what makes this world go round, I guess.
Those are such beautiful sayings. I definitely want to. How do you pronounce it? Can you repeat it in Senegal? How did you say it?
Come again?
Can you repeat the translation in Senegal? How did you pronounce it? That's such like a nice saying.
Oh, Nit e garabam.
Nit e garabam?
Yeah, exactly. Nit
oh,
e
wow.
garabam.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a beautiful saying. I love it, and I think that summarizes our approach to to this world, really, and this is really what distinguishes African societies from many others, because you can see that aspect in different cultures in Sub-Sahara, this same approach to this humanity, Nite Garabam, again, you translate Ubuntu in South Africa, you have in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Kenya, you will have a way of saying it that's really, typical to African culture.
Yeah, that's so, love it, love it. Thank you for sharing. I know we've kind of already gone over this a little bit, but just because we're in Black History Month and celebration, and we tend to ask this question because it's, we kind of have to ask it during Black History Month, but what does African heritage mean to you?
Like African heritage, to me, it's like I mentioned earlier, it's everything, really. It's my source of inspiration. And it's also really gives me a hope, because I know that not only I'm standing in the shoulders of giants, my ancestors who have built so much, and I'm just a speck in this thing. I'm really taking everything from that heritage, and Black History Month is a way to recognize it, and it should be a Black History year, year round, every single day we should wake up and be grateful for our ancestors, because they're in us, they're in us, and we have to make sure we transmit it to our children too, because they really they did an amazing work. They did an amazing work for us to be here, and we also know that it was so amazing that we are still, we still have to fight, because people have a problem with, I have to think the right word, you look at 2020 and we had to talk about Black Lives Matter in such a way that reminded us that it doesn't matter uh, where you're from, really. You be African American, you be from the Caribbean, you be from Africa, as a Black person, you are in trouble, in this society. You're in trouble because people don't think that your life matters, and you could be basically lynched, like we saw Floyd, what happened to Floyd, it's like you could be lynched live on TV, and that's happening in 2020. So for all those reasons, Black History Month needs to be really celebrated, and we need to be in not only for ourselves but for the whole world to realize that our history is really a history of greatness, but also of tribulations, and we've been facing challenges much greater than one we're facing right now, and we have to realize that we can overcome them. We will overcome them as long as we stay strong to our culture and we remember our history and our heritage. This was again, this was done. Our ancestors showed us the way to overcome it, and we need to just look back again and find inspiration into how to overcome these difficult moments. And we will overcome them. We will overcome them because, like Martin Luther King said, the arc of history is always going towards the justice, or something. Like he said it in a much more eloquent way, but this is really what it's about. History Month is there to show us where we're going, to guide us, and to give us courage and hope, because it's, our ancestors show us how to do it. Doing it in a way that's united as well is very important, and our culture is what unites us. Like I mentioned, food, we share the same food, with some variances. We share the same rhythm, and you can find it in our music, in our food, in the way we walk and the way we dance, and this is the beauty of Black people, and that's what we have in common is Mother Africa. So we need to be mindful of that, and to take it as a tool, a weapon, really, to fight this madness out there.
Absolutely. And sorry, this thought just came across my head and I was thinking about it. Can you remind the audience members what does Yolele like translate to? Like what does it stand for?
Yolele is a Fulani word. So Fulani is part of my heritage, actually. I'm part Jola, part Fulani. And Fulani, for those of you who don't know, that's the largest nomadic group in the world. So they still is now. It's much larger than the gypsies or
Oh,
any nomadic group that you can imagine. And they travel for hundreds of years. They've been traveling from east to West Africa and north to South Africa. It's just they're herders, and they're going for looking for pastures, greener pastures. And of course, nowadays, you have lots of Fulani who are sedentary now, but it's a way to say, Yorile is a way to celebrate, it's a way to say, let the good times roll. So I really wanted it to be a name that really captures the spirit of this company, Yolele, not only the nomadic aspect, because I want the food of African heritage to transcend those borders, like the nomadic people who transcend borders. So this is this aspect of it. But in a way, food is a moment of celebration as well. It's like joyful
Mhm.
moment, and Yolele is a celebration. So that's all of it that means Yolele.
Ah, that's so beautiful. I love that. I read an article on that. I was like, oh my gosh, it's got a translation. And so I love the meaning behind it. Um, I know we're kind of short on time. It's like 2:20 or so, and Fonio usually takes 5 minutes, but do you think you have time? If you don't, that's perfectly fine.
Well, let's
But
try. Okay, let's try to do this. So okay, so here I have the fonio. Okay, I have these carrots. I have onions. I have dill. I have some cashews. I have roasted beets that I've already roasted, and I have some salt. So I'm gonna start with on my stove here. You get the stove. I'm gonna turn the water to a boil. Uh,
Mhm.
Okay, water is going to boil. While
Perfect.
it's boiling, when it starts boiling, I'm going to add the fonio. For 1 cup of fonio, 1.5 cup of water. I'll add the fonio, and within 3 minutes, the water will be evaporated. I'll let it cool, and I'll pour it into a bowl. Meantime, I'm going to put some salt, about a nice pinch of salt inside the carrots. While I'm doing it, I'm just degorging the carrots. I want the water from the carrot. These carrots have been just grated, as you see, coarsely grated.
Hmm.
And the salt is going to remove the water from the carrot. I'll rinse it after just to take the salty aspect, but the water will be removed. After the water is removed, after 10 minutes about, you see I squeeze it and the juice will be out. And I guess
Hmm.
we don't have 10 minutes, but this is the pickling water for the carrot. That's a quick pickling. It's just vinegar and sugar. So 1 cup of vinegar
Mm.
and half a cup of sugar. I bring it to a boil and I let it dilute the sugar, and that's it. I'll pour this pickling liquid inside the carrots once the carrots have degorged the water. So in 10 minutes, when I remove the water from the carrot, you'll see the water will start coming out. Maybe if you see closer, it starts
Hmm.
starting to sweat a little bit.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and and in a little while, in no time, you'll see I'll be able to squeeze it and you'll see the water dripping. So that's when I'll pour it into this bowl and I'll add my pickling liquid and I'll let it pickle for another 10, 15 minutes. That's a quick pickling. Meantime, I'll
Mm.
have my beets that are already cut up and diced up. I've roasted the beets for about an hour at 400 degrees. In their skin.
Mm.
I've roasted
Hmm.
them in their skin, wrapped up in aluminum
In the
foil.
skin.
In the
Hmm.
skin, yeah. So just in the oven for about an hour, and then once it's easily pierced with a knife, you can take it out, let it cool, and then peel it and then dice it like this. So it keeps all its really sweetness to it, so you don't lose anything. I have a Scotch bonnet here that I'm gonna dice. You can use habanero, and you're just gonna dice it, and if you remove the seed, so it's not too spicy, and I'll combine
Hmm.
all of it to the salad. So the water is boiling here. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to add the fonio. I'll stir it with a spoon.
I love that pot over to the left. I think it's like an all red, all red. That's so nice.
And just reduce the heat to a low. And like I said, in 3 minutes, the water will be ready, evaporated. So meanwhile,
Hmm.
I'm going to my board here. And we just come to my board and I'll chop the dill. So
The
let me
dill. Yeah.
see.
Hmm.
Yeah, let me see if I can show you. Okay, here
Yep. We can see it perfectly fine.
you
Yep.
can see it. Okay, so I'll chop my dill.
How many springs of how many springs of dill is that? Would you say it looks about like 4 or 5?
Yeah, it's about
And do
four or
you
five.
include the stems?
Again, depending on how much you're cooking,
Hmm.
and that's a good question. You have precise numbers on the recipe, but when it comes to African food, we cook with our senses. This is very important too. So you have to sense it as you go. You taste, you feel. Intuition is a big part of it. I remember when I was cooking, learning some dishes from my mother, and she would be like. I would ask her questions like this when I was writing my first cookbook, and I was like, "How much,
Hmm.
how much time?" And she's like, and she looks at you and she's like, "It doesn't work like that, you will know
Yeah.
when it's ready. You'll know. Just taste it, Bring make sure you taste it, make sure you feel it, make sure you get, to a place in the kitchen." where it becomes somewhat of a meditation, where you're really, connecting with the ingredients. And that starts before the kitchen, that starts in the market. When you go to the market, make sure you feel the ingredients before you buy them, you touch them. You want to touch your fish before you buy it, and the fish will tell you if it's ready or if it's fresh, because it's going to bounce back, if it's fresh. If it's not fresh, it's going to have an indentation. You want to look at your fish too, as a visual, and you look at the eyes, are they bright? You look at all the ingredients, the peppers, the mangoes. You want to also smell them, all of it is like you want your senses to be present as much as possible. And when you cook, you want to taste as you go. So all of those things are like very important steps, So when you ask how much back home, when you ask an African woman cooking, she'll be like, hey, this is not a number thing. This is about senses. It's about being in connection with the ingredients and stuff. So let's go look at our fonio, first of all, to see. It should be ready by now. Like I told you, it's like it takes no
so
time.
quick.
And it's so quick. See,
Wow.
the water is evaporated, so it's ready. I'm turning off my water, and I'm going to just fluff it with a fork.
Just magical.
And you fluff it with a fork. And when you cook 1 cup of fonio, you get 4 cups of cooked fonio. So it's very generous too. It's like a, so it's here. I'm gonna take it out now and put it in a bowl so it cools off so I can continue my salad. Meanwhile, I'll take you back here because this is where I'm gonna be doing the rest of the cooking.
Okay.
And
perfect.
And so I'll pour my fonio.
Yes, I love that you were talking about when you ask your grandma or, your mother, how does this recipe go? I feel like I have that same sort of situation with my great grandmother when I'm trying to get recipes from her. She's like, oh, maybe about a handful or, maybe about, a dash or just a sprinkle or.
Yep, that's how we do it. That's how we do it.
Even cookbooks too, I've noticed that. Like I just got a Caribbean cookbook and the language is very different. Compared to how they described recipes, but it was very sensory in a way. Like it definitely explained, okay, once it starts to sizzle or, once you start to hear that cackling sound, add a little water to it just to drizzle. And so I really love that, like, sensory detail that really got you engaged into the notion of cooking and whatnot. But sorry if I'm interrupting. I know you've got the fonio there in a bowl, and that's 1 cup's worth of fonio.
I cooked only half a cup of fonio because
half a cup, wow.
Yeah, I used half a cup, and you see now you have about 2 cups of cooked fonio. So this is how generous it is. I'm stirring it now because I'm going to release the steam and cool it up a little bit before I can add the salad. So if you're in a hurry, you can put it in a refrigerator and make it happen too. So, but we're gonna skip some steps here. And so that you can move forward with the show. So I'm going to now squeeze my carrots. You see, I told you about the carrots being releasing water, and you can see already in the bottom.
Oh wow! Yeah.
This simply from putting carrots
and the salt
and the salt, and so that's what it is. There's so much water is being degorged, and now these carrots can be pickled now. So
yes, and that's with the vinegar and sugar mix.
That's exactly. So now the vinegar and sugar, I'm going to add it to the carrots here.
And one side note question that I have is how long would you like traditionally pickle carrots? Say you had more time or say you were serving it in the restaurant setting, like how long would you usually allow them to sit in the...
You can pickle it however long you want. This is a quick pickling, so it takes like 15 minutes and it's ready to be pickled already. You can leave it in the pickling. You can just take what you need and then leave the rest in the pickling liquid and put it in a jar, and it's gone for, you can keep it for months like this. So, and that's really great topping too. You can top things on it. Yeah. So that's an easy one. So while it's pickling, I'm gonna quickly slightly chop this scotch bonnet, right? I'm going to remove the seeds first. Remove the seeds so it's not too spicy.
Hmm.
And yeah, so yeah, and this is optional. If you don't want it to be too spicy, you don't have to. I'm not sure if you can see really. I should have put the camera from the different angle.
Oh, I can still see it. Yep.
You can see, okay, so I'm just gonna finely chop it.
Hmm. Yeah, and I was wondering, do you have any tips or advice for people that are new to using ancient grains in the kitchen? Like maybe, I know you're cooking this really easy salad, but I guess any other advice for people who are new to working with, task millet, fonio, the greens in general?
Yeah, I mean it's important not to get intimidated by the grains. You know, the grains they cook like other grains that you are familiar with, like rice or barley. So this is really
Hmm.
just diversifying your diet. And that's not only you doing it in a way that's fun, but it can be also more flavorful than what you do. So be creative. Be really creative. Like I said, I picked this salad to show you that it can be very simple, but it can be a substitute to the other grains that you do. So that's one way to do it. Think about the way you like to prepare another grain, and just take the ancient grain that you are selecting for your meal, and just have fun with it. Cooking is an opportunity to be having a fun time too, and you can be doing it once a day, so go for it. So that's really one of the advice I can give to people, and be patient too. Cooking requires patience, sometimes it's not going to come out as you want it to be, but the second time it's always better, and the
Hmm.
third time even better. So make sure you give yourself that time, that patience. It's the love of, it's really, like I said, especially when it comes to African food, it's slow food at its best. So take the
Hmm.
time. We're not talking about fast food here. It's not about McDonald's. We're talking about the food that's really, good for your mind. Like I said, and to do kitchen as in a meditative way. Have all your senses present, and you'll see that you'll be getting so much more than just nourishment for the body. It's like the whole experience is really really unique. And there's no other way. There's no other medium, I think, in the world, no other profession in the world that gives you all those different senses into presence, so than food. Food is the
Hmm.
only one. So you have the opportunity to do that. And if you do it with ancient grains, you're doing it in a way that's even more fulfilling, because not only you're saving biodiversity, because those grains, when we don't use them, they tend to disappear. So it's important that we really bring back those grains into our diet. So that's like you're doing good for yourself and good for the world. So you can't beat that.
Absolutely. It's like keep the notion alive, keep the ingredients alive, the grains.
Exactly, exactly. So meanwhile, we have this salad here now, and what we have, I'll show you. The next step um, is we're going to add the beets
Hmm.
into our salad. I have a dressing that's already made, but you can make a dressing just with olive oil, lime, some garlic if you want, or shallots, salt and pepper.
Mm.
And you can use a commercial dressing. I don't see why you would, because it's so simple to make. It's really, when you
Yeah.
mentioned. So I'm adding my dressing. I'm generous with the dressing because Fonio likes sauces. That's the thing with Fonio. You can usually, traditionally, we serve it with like a sauce, a very generous amount of sauce. It could be peanut sauce, it could be okra sauce, it could be red sauce. Fonio likes like sauces, it absorbs it and it takes the flavor because it
Hmm.
has this neutral flavor. It takes it too. So that's the great part of fonio. So I'm gonna add some red onions too to the salad, a little bit. And
Hmm.
then I'm gonna add my pickled carrots. Okay, you just take a pinch of it, squeeze it out, and add to it. So it's getting there now.
Hmm.
So
Looking
at this point,
good.
yeah, it's looking great. I'll add the pinch of pepper. Okay, you can see the
Hmm.
pinch.
Habanero.
Yeah, and then you stir it first, and the missing ingredient right now are the dill and
Hmm.
the cashew. The cashew is optional. You can do cashew, you can do peanuts, still to bring that texture. So so
Yeah.
so the cashew is a topping. The dill, I like to add it at the end. Usually I recommend to add any grains that you're gonna use at the end, right before serving,
Mm.
because the salad has a dressing that has acidity in it. So cooking is chemistry. You have to remember that too. So the acidity in the salad is going to eat away the chlorophyll, the green part of the greens of the dill here. So you don't want it to sit with the acidity for too long, because
Hmm.
you want it to be fresh looking. You want it to be nice and green, contrasting the rest of the colors of the salad. So you do it just before serving to make sure you don't compromise and that beautiful aspect, because cooking is also an art form. It has to look beautiful. You eat with your eyes first, right? So this is also
Hmm.
something that we need to keep in mind. So here I have my salad is ready. You taste it just to make sure you have
Hmm.
all the seasoning well balanced, and then after,
Beautiful color.
mm, mm,
That looks
delicious.
delicious.
Oh, it's delicious. I don't need to add anything now. I'm just gonna add my dill
Just right on top.
right on top. Yep. Hmm.
Wow,
Yep.
that
And some cashew. You just crack the cashew and and
the
that's it.
colors are so visually pleasing. Like that's so pretty.
Oh yes, it's delicious. It's pretty. It has that nice contrast. The pickling of the carrot
Hmm.
is balancing the sweetness of the beets. The fonio is like this really delicate, comforting, really like it's even almost bouncing the grains. They're like so
Yeah, it's kind of, I feel like it's like a
fluffy.
foundation because you've got all
Yeah,
these strong flavors and it's kind of, making it balanced with it. So
e-
yeah, that's really nice.
exactly. And that's it. And you have a beautiful, healthy, nutritious snack that you can have for at any moment of the day, really. There we go.
Yeah. Does this salad have a name or can we find it in one of your books or
You can find it in my last book, actually, this one here, in the Fonio cookbook. Yeah, and I serve it at the restaurant at Teranga as well. So the Fonio cookbook, can you see from here? Let me see it
Yeah,
in the
yeah, we can see it
background.
perfectly. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. It's published by Lake Isle Press, and yeah. So voila.
Wow. Thank you so much for doing this demo with us. That's like a salad, honestly, more like a lunch, like not even a snack. I can have that for lunch.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's a great lunch. It could be a lunch in its own self because fonio is rich in protein. It could be a side with grilled fish or grilled chicken. How it could be a snack just by
Oh,
itself
yeah.
too. So all of it.
Well, thank you. Yes,
Oh,
thank you so much. This has
it's my
been
pleasure.
such a great time. It's
It's
been
my
a great
pleasure.
time being able to meet with you.
Same
Um,
here, Sarah.
I would say thank you everyone for coming and joining Pierre and I today for this interview and mini cooking demo. It has been a slice of heaven being able to learn more about this ancient grain, but also having these brilliant discussions on current projects that Yolele, Trega, Pierre, everything that you guys have been up to. And so I just want to say that it was definitely a pleasure having this interview today. And thank you so much, Pierre.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
absolutely.
Great seeing some of you. It's a pleasure. And yeah, cook for you
Great. So,
and stay safe out there.
yes, stay safe out there. So, I hope you have a great time. I know you're in the Bay Area, so with the nice weather, we've got snow out here, but in
Oh,
Boston,
sorry.
but
Sorry. I can't do snow anymore.
you can't relate. Yeah, we've got the sunshine, just with a little snow on the side. But for everyone
Okay.
out in New York, I know you guys got recently hit by the storm, so stay safe. But thank you so much, Pierre, for joining us today. And everyone, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.
Bye.